Right, changing of the guard at the Boort Trotting Club. Sitting down for a quiet little chat. John Campbell, hello.
Hi, Paul.
Firstly, thank you for joining me for a little chat. You've recently stood down as being the president of the Boort Trotting Club, and I thought I'd find out a little bit more about it. But how's that all sunk in, I suppose, initially? You had the standing down of the trotting club.
Yeah, well, it's okay. We had a succession plan in place, so it was going to happen at our AGM, and we've got a race meeting coming up on Friday the 5th of January, and I'm trying to check with the chiefs now as to whether I can still do a couple of little jobs I used to do, or whether they're going to do them. So still checking on a few little things.
Are they leaving you in charge of the vouchers at all, the Toy World vouchers at all? I hope not. No answer to that one.
I've got some in the folder here.
I'm sure you have. And if anyone out there is wondering about notes, yes, he has got heaps of notes, and he's even got a book here for me as well. Right, where did it start? When did you join the Boort Trotting Club committee, I suppose, for a start?
Well, it got a mention at the AGM last week. John Byrne, who was general manager and a few things when I started off, said that Loddon Valley Stud travelled with the 4 grandstands that belonged to Boort Footy Club and Boort Trotting Club in 1982 for our sale on the farm. We put them in a circle for people to sit on like a grandstand. So grandstands. So anyway, after that, though, Daryl Poxon invited me in for an AGM to have a chat about studs and stallions, and it went from there. So late 80s, and
so you were on the committee in the late 80s?
Yes, and right at the start, I see we were sponsors for the Pacing Cup, I think.
Yep.
So late 80s.
When did the stud start? I know we've asked this question before. We're trying to keep this on the Boort Trotting Club, but when did the stud actually start, or when did Dad move to Durham Rocks?
No, he liked irrigation and sheep, and he was adjusting sheep at Cow Swamp, and he'd drive past a place he liked a bit at Durham Rocks, and in 1950 he bought it.
Yep.
So that was the start, and then he bought Noble Scott, who was standing in New South Wales at the Handos, and he stood him at 60 guineas and got 100 mares, and he never lived at Derrimox. He always lived at Barracky, but he employed a studmaster, Bill Cowan from Wedderburn, who was a horseman.
Yep.
And Bill and his wife lived there for those early years running the stud, and then in due course, Noble Scott was going okay, so he bought his full brother, Clan McTavish.
Yep. Now, we're not going down that path because we have done this one once before, and you can get yourself off track. And Kay's even giggling in the background. She knows the job I've got to do to try and keep you on track for this. So you started on the committee. Was Dad on the committee, or did you go first straight up onto the committee of the Trotting Club?
Yeah, well, Dad had no connection with Boort Trotting Club at all. He was on Charlton's committee in the early 50s when they kicked off with a new track, and Mum was on the ladies' committee. No, it was just me that started with Daryl Poxon when he was chairman of Boort Trotting Club.
What brought that about? Why did you want to get onto the committee? Why did you want to be a part of a trotting club?
Oh, I'm not sure I wanted to. I was happy to become a sponsor, and Daryl invited me to say a few words at an AGM. And it just started in a very small way.
Yep. And you were happy just being on the committee and just giving you a little bit?
My word. The club's got such a huge successful history with volunteers. And, those of us that came on about that time, just happy to be still doing something to keep a trotting club going.
Yeah. Yeah, and keep it going. It is one of the oldest. You had a book here somewhere. You did have that there. 1891 to 1991. This book was written. There was a short term where it was closed down, but that's an amazing time. 1891 to start the club. It's got a lot of history. What point in time, did you think you could actually contribute and start to probably make a bit of a difference? You said that you came on just basically because people were asking you to, but what time did you say, well, hang on, we can start making a bit of a difference?
Oh, I'm not sure I thought I could make much of a difference. I was very happy. Several committees I've been on, I've been the same. The word committee's got the word commit in the committee, and I believe if you go on a committee, you should be keen enough to help.
Yep.
I tried to be useful or helpful right from the start, and there was good people there. It wasn't hard to be a helper.
It's sometimes one of the best ones, isn't it? They say, if you go to work, you don't realise you're working. That's sometimes one of the best things. I would imagine it must be what you felt like at Boort.
Yes, well, John Byrne won Volunteer of the Year for country clubs one year. Secretary Kerry James won it another year, and Badger's won one. Badger Mercer's been there all the time. Their history of people has always been very good.
Yeah. When did you become president?
Late-ish 2005. The bombshell hit the 3rd of March 05 without consultation or any planning at all.
Were you president when that happened?
No. Keith Salathiel was president and his daughter Kerry was secretary, and they went to the meeting at St Arnaud with St Arnaud and Wedderburn with Neil Busy and John... what was the CEO's name? John? Anderson, yes. How could I forget the names? It was an appointment they made to have a look at the future and have a coffee, and they had the glossy 3V document with them and announced that the 7 TAB clubs would be closed down racing at home, and you'll be able to race at neighbouring clubs. So that was a shock with no consultation at all. And we had a meeting on the Sunday after. We had our cup meeting on the Sunday. So we had a meeting of 5 of those clubs on the Sunday to check out what could be done. And then in due course, Keith said, look, if we're going to fight this, he said, it won't be me, it'll be John's turn. And I'd been vice president for a little while, so that was just a fairly normal changeover.
Is that because Keith could see it was going to be a big ordeal?
Yeah, probably. He was training horses and...
Yep. Young family and that as well.
Yes. Perhaps he reckoned I'd have more time to travel a little bit to meetings or talk on the phone.
So it's a fair baptism of fire. You become a president. So just go back a little bit. So what was it called? The V7?
V3.
V3 model was announced. Did I work that out correctly? 3 days before your actual cup meeting?
Yeah, on the Thursday.
Yeah. So you get told you're going to be shut down and, oh, by the way, please go and have a successful cup meeting and make plenty of money for us.
Oh, yeah, we had to get busy and paint up corrugated sheets of iron to put at the gate saying support Boort and a few things like that. And then I had a meeting straight after the last race with Shire President and local political leaders at the meeting, and Maryborough Les Chapman was there too, expressing great concern. We had to decide, well, what can be done?
Pretty tumultuous times, wasn't it?
Yes.
Did you actually ever second guess stepping up to be the president? No.
I'd been nominated once or twice, I think.
No, I more mean once you were appointed and you were into the V3 saga, if you like. Did you actually say to yourself, "What am I doing?"
No, there was a handful of clubs or a handful of people. We're all the same. We were just determined that we'd try and turn it around.
Yep. Yeah. And keep it going. How long did that go for? Because it wasn't 1 year; it was about 3 years. Is that correct?
It took a little while. We had our first cup meeting back in 2012. So,
wow.
Yes.
Was it that long?
Yeah, it took a while.
7 years, 8 years.
Yes. Yeah. Well, we missed 6 cups because we had the one on the Sunday. That was in 05. So no, it took a little while, and we had some important politicians on our side. It was hard to work out that 2 ministers in the Labor government, John Campbell and Rob Hulls, who were both supporting us because they didn't like the way it had been done, and they didn't like regional areas getting affected like this, that they couldn't do something about it. But John Anderson said, "Oh no, it doesn't matter how many ministers are saying we can't do this. We've decided it's got to be done, and we'll do it." But we had some very good support, and Dennis Napthine was Shadow Minister for Racing, and he was one of the main Liberals at the time. So we started meeting with him. We met with him and Wendy Lovell at Boort one evening, and then we met with him at Bendigo for lunch another day, and he could see that we were committed to oppose the thing right through, and he eventually said, if the coalition get back in, he said, "I'll get you your cups back." So we were prepared to wait a few more years for that to happen, and to wait another 4 years if they didn't get in that time.
Yeah, but you knew you had their commitment.
Yeah. So we were going to go for 11 years, but then it happened early in 7 years.
It must have been, I suppose, a very trying time for the clubs. And as you said, there was no consultation and things like that. I would imagine that would have been probably the first thing that sort of struck a crawl with all you guys, because, like I said, 3 days later you've got to run a cup and generate turnover and make it a good thing. But I would imagine also out of it, you've probably got some great friendships, to the extent that, like, I know Dennis Napthine, since retired, he was at Boort, I'm going to say 2 years ago, might have been 3 years ago, just as a person who came just to enjoy the race meeting.
Yes. Yeah, he played a big part, and he stuck with us, and we stuck with him. But it got pretty serious when the legislation went through that we would get our cup meetings back. He said to us, "I've stuck my neck out for you blokes. Don't mess it up." So we all went to the 6 clubs' first cup meetings back.
Everyone went to everyone's cups.
Yes,
Yep.
He went to them all.
Yep.
So, and they were good cup meetings too. Oh, well, the communities responded. It was great.
Yeah. So it must have been as I said, you walk into it and you'd be thinking, what have I done? But at the end of it, it must have been very rewarding when you finally go back to having those meetings back at the track.
Yes, a relief.
Were you nervous before that meeting?
Oh, not greatly.
Yeah.
No, we were heavily involved in working at it. No, well, I might have been nervous, but not too badly.
Outside of that, because that's the easiest one, some of the other, I suppose, achievements that you guys have achieved there in your reign as president, but even as before that, even on the committee, like some of the things that you've seen, especially just lately, transpire. What are the things that you're more proud of?
Oh, the lady drivers is a key one. Lady drivers couldn't drive. Boort was the first race meeting that they drove in a race unofficially. It was no betting on that race, but it was very successful. So Boort ran the first official punting race for the lady drivers. Our secretary, John Davidson, this is a year or two down the track, he invited all the lady drivers that we knew of and we could find, and we had a photo taken on the track of 20 older lady drivers. But of course that's flowed on. Each year, if it's the teal panted time, well, they about 8 or 9 of them drive at Boort and they win half the races. So Boort's been strong on the lady drivers side of things, but the things that were happening over that period, and a couple of things were well underway while I was there, but not when I was chairman. We had a run of new stalls put in, and then we had a new track built for our first cup meeting back. And since then we've had the new horse washers with the minister opening the horse washers, and then a new vet room, a new kitchen and kiosk, a new sports bar, and the veranda, which is a fantastic
and needed.
Needed, yes. It's a fantastic veranda, whether it's hot or cold, wet and windy. Long veranda. And so there's... and of course we had to... one of the biggest things we achieved in a way was we had to replace or shift the lights. New lights had gone in so that hockey and football could be played under official conditions, and it was causing shadows for us. So we got a quote on shifting the light poles, and that was $105,000. So the minister, Martin Pakula, was in the background there through VRIF. He helped, and it cost Boort a fair bit of money. But the CEO of HRV at the time, he came to a cup meeting and a Central Vic final, I think, the same period, and we had horses jumping shadows, and he didn't put it in writing. He said, you'll have to fix that, and we got the drift that if we didn't fix it, we wouldn't be racing at Boort. So just getting the light poles shifted was a good thing.
I was there that day when they were all jumping and I was emceeing, and it was you couldn't buy enough shadow rolls. There's a calendar for Graham Eels over there. He did a roaring trade that day because the Boort Trotting Club couldn't in the end buy enough, and we had so many unfortunate scratchings. It was a shocking day, wasn't it? Oh
yeah, and it was so disappointing because you can watch Trot's race meetings on Sky through that period and any time, and you can see tracks with the same sort of light poles and shadows, and the horses don't even flick their ears.
Yeah, but this day, and anyone wondering, it was actually a super bright day. There wasn't a cloud to be seen in the sky, and the bluestone on the track, and the way the sun hit it, it just stood out like a beacon, didn't it?
Oh yes, and Gavin was driving a top filly there. We had a 3-year-old fillies race, and Gavin was driving this outstanding filly, and in the warm-up she jumped a shadow. So Gavin drove her straight across the footy ground to go back and get a shadow roll and do a couple of things. And put her back on the track, but of course it happened with a few horses. The shadow roll didn't help a lot. The horses knew there was a shadow there. Anyway, and that filly was odds on, so it wasn't a good way to be hitting the headlines that day.
No, it wasn't indeed, but you got through it. And the next meeting, fortunately, there was no pole.
Yeah, so we shifted 4, I think.
Yeah.
A couple of good poles are still there if you know anyone that wants a couple of good poles.
Must say too, anyone thinking of building a trotting track, don't put the poles on the inside. Well, even if you've got a north-south facing track, don't put them on the inside anyway, because it doesn't help, does it?
No, and they weren't there way back. They appeared in the 7 years that we weren't racing at Boort.
Yes, absolutely.
And the footy club, a little bit of heartache through all of that happening and getting done, and got a phone call after their first home game at night, Boort, and said, yeah, it's better than it was.
Because it was back further, they could see more of the ground.
Yeah, well, they were in a better spot, I think. Yeah, it was better than it was.
Every meeting I go to, John, I'm fortunate enough to, well, not every meeting, but I'm fortunate enough to be an MC there at the club, and I do joke about how organised you may or may not be with it. But sponsors and prizes, and I mean the amount of people that rock up to Boort and they comment on what they get, everything from gurneys to barbecues to cooking sets, the support you get from local communities and repeat sponsors and people that want to continually come back must make you proud, because so many people do put in, and they do put in some terrific prizes. They're not a throwaway item that you would you can get at some clubs.
No, well, we have 6 tribute races, which used to be in memory of races of great people from Boort Trotting Club. And they, some of them give us the money, or they bring the trophy, and they can be $600 or $700 worth of trophies. And of course, sponsors will. Peter Walsh leads the way with Neil Beattie, chair of Boort Park. They both chip in $2,500 cash, one for the Trotters Cup and one for the Pacers Cup. But Neil told me the other day he just rounded up another, perhaps not quite as large amount of cash, but a new sponsor. And we've last few years we've had 40 sponsors, and that's from those type of sponsors right down to, you know, with $100 for gent of the day. Those, there's 40 of them. So we're pleased about that, and we also make a list of our.
I'm not going to lift them up.
We make a list of our volunteers, because this year we're just finishing our 2 meetings. We had 33 volunteers there helping run those race meetings, and it's flowing through. 6 of our committee will be youngish, Paul.
Is youngish me, or is youngish under me?
Yeah, you're youngish.
We need younger, but that's okay. That's okay.
To you and I, 30 and 40 is youngish.
Yeah, definitely. I make a joke there about the sponsors and the trophies, but I know Jimmy and Jackie Barker, they come every year. I remember there was one year I think they won 2 or 3 races, and there was some suggestion maybe leave a barbecue behind or that, but there was not a chance in. They find a way to fit these prizes into their vehicles to get them home, don't they?
Oh, yeah, well, John Davidson had to deliver a barbecue. Well, somebody that won the barbecue couldn't get it in, so he had to deliver it. So he made a stipulation next year, no big barbecues.
It's one of those funny things, you're watching people. One thing I do enjoy, they win this trophy and they say, oh, we'll just take it back to the horses, and they will get 5 steps down the road and they stop because it's like too heavy. It's one of the more funny things you get to watch as well.
Yeah, well, we have developed a rule that when we buy quite a few of the trophies ourselves, even though people are paying for some of them, we have a rule that we don't buy trophies that you sit on the mantelpiece and look at.
No, I think it's great, and I think the people that come absolutely love it. And as I say, Barker's, what is it, be a 5-hour drive from Hamilton, and they never miss a meeting. That's Gloria's finale. I think she's contested it, or he's contested in about the last 4 Boort Trotters Cups actually.
Righto.
And did win one.
Yes.
So might even been teal pants. There you go. How's the memory going for me? It's going all right. But it is also a lot of fun. You do everything from fashions on the field, where stupid blokes with MCs might get up there and stand in the fashions on the field. And I can't believe Joey Thompson beat me. I still reckon I was robbed that year.
Charlton had Joey primed. He put in a big effort.
Yeah, well, it was one of those. I still reckon I was robbed. But anyway, have a lot of fun. And that's the idea, is because we sometimes miss that. We forget that part when we go to trot meetings, don't we? It's work and regulation, but we want it to be fun for the participants and for the people on track.
Yes. And the Abbey racing was in fear of dying quite a few years ago. Yes. The committee, they're great volunteers, but we were a bit wobbly on having committee doing the Abbey racing. But anyway, the school said, no, we'll do the Abbey racing. The 4 captains at the school, each year they'll do the Abbey racing. So it still happens and we do nothing.
Yeah, and it is a lot of fun. But there's other stuff. Some were throwing something one year, an elf or a Santa Claus or something. There was something getting thrown into a bin or something, I remember.
You and Grant Campbell were trying to help.
He got it. I remember he got it in and he was pretty happy about it. So he's always better than me on those sorts of things.
Yeah, we never did that one again.
Yeah, no, it was a bit. Grant was upset. I wasn't. So that part is fine. But that is one of the things that Boort try to do. Like, I take the mickey out of you about forgetting stuff, but there is always things, punters clubs, lucky raffles. There is a reason for people to actually attend the track and attend the meetings and enjoy themselves.
Yes, and it can't happen without those committee that are so committed and the volunteers that we're very proud of the number of volunteers.
Remember the one where we ended up with Warwick Kappa there? The meeting, bit of luck. Anyone wondering, it was a little bit of Irish luck for the Boort Trotting Club this day, that a wayward galah on a 40-degree day flew into a transponder, didn't it, on the power lines, and the Boort Caravan Park and Lakes, what's it called now? You better give me the right name, I'll be in trouble.
Boort Holiday Park. Now.
Holiday Park, sorry. Yeah. There was no power, so everyone came across to the trots, and it was a hell of a meeting, wasn't it? In the end, there was that many people there, then they enjoyed themselves, and Warwick Kappa was outstanding. He was sitting there talking to everyone, and it was just a dead set lot of fun. Yes,
well, he was in having a look around the sports bar, and one of the ladies said, "Look at that bloke, he looks like Warwick Kappa." It was Warwick.
It was him indeed.
Then I'm working out, well, how do we get Warwick involved? There's still about half the meeting to go, and I thought, oh, surely there's a bit of mileage in this somewhere. But anyhow, our policeman was vice president, and another committeeman had a lot of wisdom at times, and they both said, don't worry about it.
Yeah, and he got himself going. He was okay. He fitted in very, very well. Did you enjoy your time, mate, as being a president?
Oh, yes.
Even through the start of it, and that?
Yeah, I think the start of it was a bit like standing 5 stallions at the stud. You don't walk around thinking, gee, I'm enjoying this. Yep. Each day there's a bit to be done.
Yeah, but after a while it sort of got enjoyable when things started to get back a little bit of normality.
Yeah, being back at Boort was, and the other clubs too, like Oyen had 9 meetings. And they got back with 2, but Wangaratta had about 6 or 7. They got back with 2 meetings. Like we talk about Dennis Napthine's government getting us back our cup meetings, but then in due course, down the track a bit, they decided to give us 1 meeting as well. So we had 2 meetings each. But my word, clubs like Wangaratta and Oyen and Sedan and a bit as well. I think they had 5 meetings previously. They were still hard done by in a lot of ways.
Yep. Yeah, they lost a few of their meetings. One thing I do know you're very, very proud of, and this was written by Daryl Poxon. It's in Parramatta on the back page, it is too, as well, but by Daryl Poxon. First past the post for the Boort Trotting Club, and you've also got the second part that's actually happened now. Is there a third stage getting written? Because this one stops at 2016. Is he still going with another one?
Daryl said there will not be a third.
There will not?
No.
Right.
No, he's got a big one coming up. He's done Gunbower's 100 years.
Yeah.
So Sunday, February the 18th, it's all happening at Gunbower, and Kay and I were there the other day for their cup meeting. So a couple that have proofread it have said he's done a great job. And Gunbower's a little bit like Boort. There's some great names if you go back over the 100 years.
Tubby Peace.
Yes, and
three, didn't I?
I think one of the Mackays, Bill Mackay's.
Yes, that rings a bell.
Yeah,
it does ring a bell, actually. Yeah.
There's been a few big names start up in the north.
I won't be there, unfortunately, because of commitments elsewhere, but I would have liked to have been, I must say, but I might have to duck up there beforehand and maybe even catch up with Daryl to promote the meeting. Might be a better way of doing it. It's actually good that he put me on the front page of this cover too. I'm pretty impressed with that. I keep wanting to pinch it up to make sure it's me because I'm not winning, but it's actually got Mr. 4000. That's one of the things you probably do enjoy about it. Johnny Caldo on the front page there, and he was always very, very loyal to Boort and loved coming there, didn't he?
Oh, yes. Well, when his father, Jack, and his brother, Peter, up at Oyen, they'd come to all these clubs, and then they finished up closer to Echuca. But Jack Caldo and Frank Ryan, they would come and stand on the lawn at Boort, and they both had good horses at the time, but coming to a smaller track or a track that perhaps didn't have so many high-profile horses, they saw that as very important.
No, they did indeed, and even the Cape Bread's on the front page as well. So it's terrific. Peter Sanderson on the inside. I'm not sure who that one there is. I do know that's Flaming Flutter. Yep. So yeah. I'm not going too bad. John, thank you. Congratulations, and well done. Are you finished with Boort? Are you going to stay on the committee, or are you going to step down altogether?
Oh no. They nominated the committee in a bulk lot. Apparently allowed to do that rather than look around the room to
see who's going
9
to go.
or 10 to get nominated. They just nominated the existing ones.
So you're still on the committee?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Will you step down off that eventually? Or?
Oh yeah, eventually.
Yeah. One thing I think a few people are worried about, I love the uniform that you've got now, the Boort Trotting Club, and it stands out. These shirts with 2 pockets, though, they're dangerous for you because anyone that knows you know you always have your little notebook in one pocket, you see, so you can write notes down. Mm. Who come up with the shirts with 2 pockets?
I think the committee did ask for that. Nicole Miles, we had an outstanding secretary, and it took her a little while to find out what size the blokes all were. But now, in the end, she got the shirts that fitted us all and the caps, and 2 pockets. I thought was a good idea.
Do you marvel at the amount of people that run the other way when you start to go like this? When you start to pull out one of those notebooks?
Oh, most of them are getting pretty slow now. Not many run away. They might run away long before they get close.
I am taking the mickey out of him, but I'm serious. You may not be able to read that. That is full of notes and notes on the back as well. He's got his little notebook there. He is noted for the notebook. It's part of your DNA, isn't it?
Well, when you've got a memory like me, you've got to write some things down.
John, thank you. Congratulations and well done. And I must say to your family as well, like Kay's sitting there behind us, but all your family as well have had to endure this whole time as well. So there would have been some pretty low lights, I'd imagine. When you got home, you'd be buggered and wanted to stop, but you've got to be a dad and things like that. So I think the commitment from the whole family, mate, too, is outstanding. So well done to you and everyone, and also well done to the Boort Trotting Club.
Yeah, well, thanks, Paul. And my word, we've enjoyed you being there on Most of our race meetings as MC.
I'm kicking you to the touch a bit at the minute, aren't I? You're not enjoying that.
No, well, you're good as an MC because you know the racing side of it out on the track, and you know everybody, and it works well, and we like having you come.
I enjoy coming, mate. It is a lot of fun. You actually have a meeting Friday night? Friday?
Yeah, Friday the 5th, daytime.
Daytime, no night time, because the light posts are on the for the football field, not for the track.
Yeah, it was suggested we could go night at one stage, but no, we decided to stay daytime.
No, daytime. And this is a Friday. And the Boort Trotting and Pacing Cups will be run on March the 3rd.
Yeah, Sunday, March the 3rd.
Fashions on the field?
Yes.
I might have to start working on it. Joey Thompson, I'm coming for you. And go from there. We need some more blokes who can get involved in it, don't we?
Yes.
Yeah. John,
prizes are good.
John, thank you very much. Congratulations. And, from a harness person's point of view, I do take the mickey out of you a little bit, but I appreciate everything you've done. And as I said, having fun and enjoying what's going on, I think that's one of the great key components, mate. So thank you very much for joining me.
Yeah, well, thanks, Paul, but my word, I've had a lot of support right through. You got to have the support.
Absolutely. Thanks, mate.